Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and this is going to be a very interesting battle between two factions in a civil war. Actually, they're going to be one in the same faction. This is going to be the Crown of Aragon, and this is going to be from the mod 1212, Kingdoms 1212 AD. And this is, if you don't know, the mod that seeks to bring the, obviously, medieval era to, they had one in Rome too, but this version of the mod is going to be actually in Attila, because obviously they're planning on making use of the campaign mechanics there, like the family tree and whatnot. Anyways, my army that's going to be arrayed in front of you is going to be representing the peasant revolt. And they are not just peasants. There is the Lord of Cornell over here who is going to be kind of bankrolling this uprising against the king. Does he have altruistic motives, or is he perhaps just exploiting the discontent of the peasants? I guess we won't know. But anyways, he has put his body on the line here. Obviously comfortably behind some peasants. You can see the king's forces there deploying on the hill in the distance. That is going to be commanded by Indie Pride, so it's going to be cool to see this battle because I have the numbers advantage, but I'm going to be obviously light troops. So we can go over and look at my deployment here. So I have Lord Cornell Overwatch, kind of looking over his whole peasant body here. On the left, he has a bunch of these Jeanettes deployed in the woods. These guys are going to be light skirmishers, very, very quick, lightning quick, in fact, and they throw some javelins to and fro, very, very good. So I have them hidden in the woods here, and then I also have some more over there hidden in the woods in the far distance, waiting to pounce on Indie Pride when the moment comes. I'm also going to be moving up with some of my Almogavars here, light units once again with the javelins. So you can watch as my peasant army approaches. I'm going to have some spear militia up here. Once again, just padded armor. They're going to be pretty good with their spears. And then behind them is going to be the peasant archers. So a lot of peasants. I have 3 peasants with nothing but daggers. 2 peasant archer units right here in front of you. And then over here is actually going to be where Lord Cornell has put some of his funds in hiring some rather expensive units. And these are going to be the handgunners. Almogavar handgunners. So I have 2 of these. The king, in opposition to me, was able to afford 3 of them, so the king that is, has the advantage. We'll go ahead and cover his army soon. I'm going to be moving up also with some Catalona Aragonese pikemen. These guys are going to be very useful for making sure to push the forces back. So you can see with a lot of guns and some spears and pikes, it's going to be a pike and shot type of build. So here we are, cresting the hills, this rolling terrain, making for a really excellent battlefield. Now, in opposition to us, you can see the king's forces arrayed in a distance here. I'm going to start to push up some of my javelins and archers just to start getting some fire on them. His main line is going to be comprised of these Almogavar handgunners. 3 of them, like I said, in perfect position. They have high armor, so they can take a beating from my archers. You can see them here watching as my troops start to deploy. And they do have a culverin. This is actually really impressive that the mod team put together a, a cannon unit, given that this is built off the Attila base game, which doesn't have it. So you can see there, they're loading one of the projectiles. I believe this was built off a Scorpion unit. But yeah, very interesting that they're able to do that. Not super long range, so you can see it there. I'm just starting to move up. Now, behind that main line, what he's going to have is some of these heavy infantry, extremely heavily armed pole arms right there, and then he has some footmen at arms again with plate armor, and then a lot of these. There's the king himself, and then a lot of the heavy cav and spears guarding the flanks. He does have some cav watching the back just in case, because he knows my Jeanettes are roaming. Anyways, now is going to be time for the human wave attacks. Lord Cornell has sounded the trumpets, and that means that we have our arrow and shot catchers moving forward. That's going to be essentially the peasants here on a doom mission moving up. You can see the enemy force here knowing what's coming at them, so my peasants are moving up. This is supposed to give cover to my archers, but man, now they're going to start to get blasted by ranks and ranks and ranks of the enemy forces. I think the cannon's even going to get some shots off, so let's try and watch this. It's taking out ranks of these peasants, leaving behind a bloody corpse-filled plain here. My peasants are going to somehow continue to charge through, but there you go, a couple extra shots, and that is going to be it. I think the sight of the cannon right there was too much for them to handle. So here comes the first wave in retreat. And it continue to get fired upon by these men. The early gunpowder is now seemingly burning down the terrain around them. So, the peasants still not having more than enough. Their own men perhaps being given orders to impose on them a no retreat policy, so they're caught between enemy lines, bouncing back and forth. So here they go. They're going to actually get into combat, it looks like. The handgunners do have a long reload rate, but they do have very excellent armor and good attack. So he's going to throw in some of his footmen at arms to clean up these peasants. This is going to be excellent for him. There you go, making quick work of my guys. He's going to start pushing forward with his ranks, trying to get a bit more bold. I do still have some archers here firing, getting some nice shots off. I have heavy shot enabled, so I'm going to start picking away at some of his men. I have the numbers to play this game of attrition. You can see my peasants here coming across no man's land. Apparently that was a little bit of a cause for concern for my guys, who are now not really eager to move up. The closer you get to those enemy forces, the more damage they'll do to you. But I'm just going to be providing cover for my own units who are going to be returning fire. So I have now positioned 2 of my guys against Indy's units right there. So I think I should get an advantage on this flank. However, I am shooting some of my own men. But here comes one of the big pushes in the center. You can see this is going to be led by 2 peasants. In response, the cavalry is going to be sent along with these footmen. They're going to just charge right through the ranks. So my guy's being absolutely destroyed. However, it's going to be just sandbagging his guys into this engagement. So his cavalry that tries to push through is now going to have to deal with some of my skirmishers here. So we're getting a couple shots off, and all they have to do is pull back. And take a look at what I have here. My spear militia, who are here to rally my forces with a wall of spears, and they're going to be forcing these cavalry back. So I am now able to force the issue here with the archers, the peasant archers, still holding firm. So this is going to be the pike and shot at work. Perhaps not the shot at this point. But here comes my Jeannettes pulled out of the forest. Excellent. Now that I have the enemy cav kind of holding firm, I can charge in from the flank and get some nice shots into these guys. You can see how quickly the cavalry went down. So now here comes my perhaps 3rd wave coming through here, a bit more decisive with these pikes, enough to force the enemy back. A lot of bloody corpses along the way. Indy Pride is going to be reforming his guys to try and get some shots off. So I'm going to be pushing all in at once, getting up close, closing the distance, allowing my skirmishers here to get point blank with their javelins. I'm going to move up some of my own gunners as well. But let's watch my my pike line as it moves up. And this is going to be worrisome for his men-at-arms. I'm going to stand strong despite his volleys, and this is going to chew through the middle one, so perhaps I'm not going to do well here, but I am going to be able to close on this side, pushing forward. Archer volley suppressing them. And here comes Indy's men-at-arms, the culverin, trying to get some last desperate shots off. But actually, even his guys here are going to be taking a beating against my pikes, so I have enough numbers to hold strong. However, in the center, you can see my unit completely melted away. It has, however, rallied, but it does leave a gap here. You can see exactly where they melted was in facing off against the cannon, so that's a problem. I do have my Jeannettes here, going to be chipping away at this force. So my pike's actually doing a good job to force Indy's men back. I've committed pretty strongly against his footmen at arms, who surprisingly are going down. So the elite level of his guys not holding up to the pikes. I was surprised by this, but it's going to be enough to force his dudes back, which is good. Sitting at the crest of the hill, however, is going to be more guns. And take a look at this. Now he's going to be pulling some of his heavy billmen. And yeah, all those cannon shots are going to be extremely destructive. What I have done is in the back activated my Jeannettes, so they're going to be charging into the rear, preventing his cav from doing anything mischievous. I don't want them hammer and anviling my pike line, so I'm going to be drawing them out of position. See, there's already pulled some of his guys out of the way. Jeanette's here to disrupt the back, which allows me to push through the center. I mean, look at this. All my guys have basically been destroyed. On this flank, I am making more of a concerted push with my own gunners here, able to suppress the lines. I was targeting his footmen at arms here up on the hill, doing pretty well, so his lines are going to be broken soon here as my spear militia push through and just mow down this lawn of enemy units from the king. However, the king himself, speak of the devil, is going to be in on the fight, so he's coming in to try and clean up my lines. My center has completely broken here, although I do still have peasant archers to keep that tied down. And take a look at this. My Jeannettes made it all the way into the back. Now they're going to be closing in on the rear of his footmen at arms. I'm trying to keep them suppressed, clean them up, and then I'm redeploying some of my own militia units back here. The king is at my rear lines, going to be bring me down. So here comes Lord Cornell, the guy who bankrolled this rebellion. Now he's going to be coming into the action. This is the face-off. This is what this whole movement is about. The facing off of these two guys, one after the other. So let's go ahead and watch what he does. And it seems like my guy is more than willing to allow his paid warriors, deal damage while he watches. So perhaps not super courageous. Now it seems like it's going to be the moment to charge. So it's King versus Lord, perhaps for the supremacy of the crowd. And I think here is the king himself. Yeah, you can see the crown on his head, so he is bloodied. In the distance here, you can see my Jeanette's pulling out of the fight. The enemy has cleared up the backlines for the most part. Spear Militia here pushing forward. His own heavy billman doing incredible damage to my guys. The Culverin crew was basically killed. Some of these units here are going to be reloading their guns, and he's going to be pursuing my guys over on the right flank. Mounted sergeants at full strength, going to be cleaning up my skirmishers, so I'm going to be desperately pulling back. I don't really have much to hold back. You can see his spear militia pushing forward here, so I desperately need something to hold my lines together. Meanwhile, his cav is going to be charging through, and he can get a lot of free kills here. So look at the battlefield. My unit's in complete disarray. This is not looking good. However, the Jeanettes are going to be here, and they're going to be circling. You can see just how quick they are. They're going to be going for quick lightning strikes on the Culverin, other units. They're circling about, keeping the pressure on. Meanwhile, on this side, we were able to kill the enemy king. Lord Cornell got in on the action just when it was the time, and is now mopping up these operations. Hopefully he sees the crown from the ground. And I'm going to be redeploying some of my guys. They were helping to shoot down the enemy king. Some of the cavalry is going to be engaged with my men, but it looks like my Jeanette's actually cleaning up. On this flank, we've been able to isolate and surround some of these remaining footmen at arms, and now they're going to get triple team. Pikes on either side, Jeanette's in the back. It's going to be the end of these guys, so we can watch as my guys close in on the remaining loyalists to the king, and it looks like now they're going to break. So there goes one of them. The center here, he has caught one of my Jeanettes, but the point of the Jeanettes being mostly just to distract his men, keep them away from the fight, and I have plenty of Jeanettes to throw into that engagement. So here comes more of them circling around. The cavalry is going to be held here, and this is exactly where I can keep some of my handgunners, and they're going to be firing into this mess. You can see the smoke of the guns as I try and clean up this position. Now it could be a little dangerous with Lord Cornell in the mix. I could threaten to hit my own ranks, which is why I believe I'm redeploying. Yeah, I don't want to hit him necessarily. I'm going to be targeting this force in particular, moving more of my guys. The enemy gunners are still alive. He's going to be pulling back some of his heavy infantry pole arms to rally and keep those guys guarded. He's going to be charging in more cavalry, trying to land a strike against Lord Cornell, hoping that he is the linchpin to this rebellion. If they can kill him, they're hoping that the peasants will kind of give up. But not sure that's going to be the case. Looks like Indian's actually going to be throwing more and more of his guys. My gunners here doing tremendous damage. And actually, Indy's own forces being somewhat of a meat shield against the guns. So there you go. They absorb most of the damage. You can see they are on the outskirts of this blob, taking most of the damage. So that's very good for me. And there you go. The mounted sergeants are exhausted, and they should be routing. I have some of my own pikemen in the mix helping me out. Enemy pikes are going to be pushing in. And you can see how effective the pikemen were this battle. They're going to be destroying my guys. The billmen, heavy billmen, still going along, still cutting my guys up. But I still have my gunners, whereas the enemy gunners have routed. And so now I have a nice advantage. Going to be chewing into these guys. And my Jeanettes are going to come back into the action from the rear. There you go, getting some nice shots off. So I believe at this point, yep, Lord Cornell pulled out of that fight. Somehow still alive with less bodyguards than before, but still ready to reign as king. So he's not going to risk his life at this point. He's going to overlook the remainder of this battle, which is pretty much now in our favor. Cavalry may be going for some last desperate action. Lord Cornell is going to get on out of there again, seek safety amongst his men. Pulled back some pikemen to defend my gunners in this position, and we're now going to be turning everything to bear on the retreating cav. Some of my gunners even continuing to get some shots off against this blob here, where my Jeanettes are now engaged against some pikes. And there you go, Pyrrhic victory. So, if we go ahead and survey this battle, you can see just the sheer number of corpses that were left along the battlefield. That's because I had a huge peasant force paid dearly with their lives, and I guess at the end of the day, Lord Cornell now is going to be able to seize the crown, the king's glorious men having died along these plains and fields. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Really fun battle. Thanks to Indie Pride for taking part in this. Make sure to check out his channel for his own perspective from this battle. I'm sure he'll be doing an awesome replay. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the final stats here. So yeah, my own guys doubling the king's force here. Peasants on my side doing almost nothing, 0 kills there. The archers themselves getting a handful of kills. Remember, the kills here are much more important on my side because they're killing much more valuable units. The Jeanettes being pretty good. Skirmishers doing pretty good, mostly helping to take out the cav once I sandbag them, excuse me. My handgunners doing excellent work, 111.79, but mostly I think it was down to my cheap spear militia that just plowed through the enemy footmen at arms. Very, very good. The Aragonese, Aragonese pikemen, excellent. So the pike and shot combination looking to work wonders. Lord Cornell doing pretty well himself, mostly against the enemy king, so perhaps he had a hand in taking him down. Let's take a look at Indy's army. The Culverin not doing too well, 26 kills. His cavalry doing very good, 262, 142, 124, so everyone here doing a lot of damage, especially these heavy infantry. You can see how well equipped all these guys were with plate, just chewing through my peasants. At the end of the day, I just had enough to surround and overwhelm them. I think it was mostly due to my handgunners, but Indy's handgunners themselves, 278 kills. Yeah, those guys did work too. I think where he perhaps underperformed was in some of the footmen at arms. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of kills, but I think in charging my spear militia, he should have perhaps had some better way with dealing those guys, but I just pushed up en masse with wave tactics. Seemed to have gone well for me. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.